says,
hello, I'm here with my grandfather, Edgar Lee Campbell. He is 68
Junior.
years old. Pretty old for his age. Anyway, here he is, and he served as a Navy person. And so, I'm here to talk to him about it. What was the Navy like?
It was like the Navy. What was it like? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my encounter. I finished high school in June of 1945. And the big war was still going on, and the Japs were giving us a fit in the Pacific Theater. And being around boats and ships all my life, I wanted the Navy and no other branch. So I immediately, upon graduation from high school, went down and enlisted in the Navy at age 17. And at that time, if you wasn't 18, you had to have your parents' consent, so my father had to sign for me to join. So I was accepted, but they put me on a standby quota until the next group were called up for active duty. So this continued on until August, when the war was over. The Japs surrendered, and that October the 14th, they called me up for active duty. So I had to go to boot camp up at Camp Perry, Virginia, which was a 12 weeks camp. And upon completing 10 weeks, one other fella and myself in our outfit were called up to report to topside for shipping out in full gear. So we went to topside with our gear, and we stayed there for 2 days, not knowing where in the world we were going. And it so happened that this other fellow and myself had had a year of typing in high school, and they checked our records and decided to send us to Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, at BUPERS, which is the Naval Bureau of Personnel, right up the hill from the Pentagon. And they sent us up there as yeomen, doing office work. So my duties were to make spot promotion records on officers that were promoted in the field, and also to do filing. So basically what I was doing was typing and filing for a period of 9 months. And when I entered, I had a choice of signing up for regular Navy for 3 years, or signing up in the V6 Reserve program, which read that you would serve until the declaration of emergency had ended, plus 6 months. So I took the latter, so I wouldn't have to stay in any longer than I had to. And so the following July, I was released from the service, discharged, as they at this point were letting a lot of the reservists out of the service and just keeping the regular Navy. So on July the 14th of 1946, I retired, not retired, but was discharged and into civilian life. Next question.
Tell about your uniforms, please.
My uniforms. Okay, well, they were the basic sailor, they referred to them as monkey suits in the Navy. And during the 9 months I was there, I made 3 promotions, one from 3rd class seaman to 2nd class seaman, and when I was discharged, I had made 1st class seaman. So that was my rank.
What do the stripes mean?
The stripes,
On your...
they stand for each rank. The white stripes stand for each rank at a seaman level, up to 3 white stripes, which is you're a first class seaman, and if you're promoted on beyond that, then you go to your arm, which are red stripes, and then you get into the classification of petty officer. In other words, one red stripe up here is a third class petty officer, 2 red stripes is a second class petty officer, and 3 red stripes is a first class petty officer.
What were some of the rules they had in the Navy?
Some of the rules, you better do what you were told or you'd be in big trouble. It was pretty strict.
What were some of the things that you were told to do?
You had to go to bed at a given time, which I think well, basically during boot camp it was 9 o'clock, and we got up I think at 4:30 as well as I recall, and then started exercising and drilling for the day and getting in shape. Then after I was out of boot camp, the rules weren't as strict. Like I said, I was working at Bupers, and the hours were 8 to 5, and we had no real restrictions as far as being on the base in off hours.
What consequences did you have if you were to not follow the rules?
Well, they'd put you mainly in KP duty, which is KP stands for Kitchen Police. They'd put you down there for about 2 weeks, peeling potatoes and cleaning up the kitchen and just doing a lot of manual work.
Did you ever have to do that?
No, I was never bad. I never got in trouble.
Okay. What did y'all eat?
What did we eat? We ate a lot of powdered eggs, then I remember that. Dry powdered eggs. But the food overall wasn't too bad. We had a lot of choices. I mean, occasionally they'd even give you a steak, a lot of chicken, and then of course the side dishes were of course potatoes and slaw and salads, and always had a lot of hot bread.
Did you have any friends in World War II to die?
Yes, I did.
Please tell about it.
Well, I can't remember all of them. It was several of them. I can remember one good friend of mine. He was several years older than I was, and he died. He was a Navy pilot, and he was shot down over air battle there, right near his carrier. With the suicide planes coming in, he was attacking them. He was shot down. And another fellow that I knew very well was in the invasion of Normandy, and he was in the first wave that went in, and he was killed in that. And another good friend of mine was torpedoed aboard ship and was killed. So that's 3 I can think of right off that I knew very well that were killed.
And what was the reason why you didn't get sent out? Was it just the typing?
I don't guess they had any position for me at that time beyond where I was. I guess they figured I was doing such a fine job where I was, so they left me there.
How long did you serve?
9 active months, and then when I was discharged, I was put on a 10-year reserve status where they could call me up for the next 10 years in the case of an emergency and if I were needed.
Tell about the different ranks in the Navy.
The different ranks in the Navy. Well, we've covered the seaman ranks and the petty officer ranks, which are all non-commissioned ranks. Then when you get in the commission ranks, which they start out first as an ensign, which is the lowest commission rank, and then you go to a lieutenant, and then the next rank above that is a lieutenant commander, and then a full commander, and after that would be the commodore. It's a commodore rank, and captain, a full captain, and then you get into your admiral ranks.
What slang did they use in the Army?
Oh,
and in the Navy?
I can't repeat that. I refuse to repeat that. I don't remember.
Okay.
Nancy didn't pick one.
What song did y'all used to sing?
Anchors away.
Sing your song.
I'm not singing a song. I'm not going to sing a song.
Say the words then.
I'm not. No.
Evidently the Navy didn't get him any less shy. Okay. How did the Navy influence your life and job?
And it taught me to have a more serious side to me, I guess. And
Evidently that didn't work too well.
huh? That's not good. And taught me to work hard and obey the rules.
And how did it influence your job that you did after the Navy?
I continued typing for years since I was an insurance and claim investigator, and for many years had to type my own reports.
Was there any competition between the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and the Marines that y'all used to? Was it like a rivalry?
Yeah, to a certain point, but it was all in fun.
Okay. How did the Navy affect your life at the present time the war was going on?
Okay. Well, other than what I mentioned a moment ago, I typed for years, and then upon my discharge from the Navy, being an all-state football player, I got a full scholarship along with my GI Bill, which is a free education to go to college.
Did you buy any houses because of it?
Thank you. And Jenny, my wife, and myself did buy 2 houses on the GI Bill, which was at that time a low interest rate loan. I think something like 3% interest, mortgage interest.
This is my grandma, Virginia Campbell. Will you please come up? Please? Please.
You really get
How? By the way, it's your birthday. But what was it like being the wife of someone in the Navy during the war?
Well, I was not his wife during the war. we dated.
Were you worried about him being sent overseas?
Oh, yes. But we were lucky that he was always close by the house.
Do you remember anything about when he was in the Navy?
Mm-hmm.
Would you please tell it?
I went to see him when he was in boot camp at Camp Perry, and they wouldn't let us in the first time we went. I went with his mother and daddy, and we had to wait 4 weeks and then go back, and we got to see him, and we went and spent Christmas Day at Camp Perry. And then he was transferred to Arlington, Virginia, in the
BUPERS.
Navy Bureau of Personnel. That's where he served the rest of his time.
Okay. Thank you for
Did you introduce your little sister?
one of the products of it, whether or not if he had been sent over there and gotten killed, she wouldn't be here.
Neither would you.
Neither would I.
She would be.
Thank you for being
Okay.
with us
Accept the
today.
load.